Chapter 668, Leaving the Mystic Realm. 2. This spatial teleport talisman was handed to me by the sect master. It's still put to use eventually. Yi Yu sneered coldly. Before Yi Yu entered the mystic realm, the sect master personally handed her the spatial teleport talisman. If she met any life-threatening dangers, she could use this spatial teleport talisman to escape. As the black talisman was burnt, Yi Yu's body gradually turned unreal until it became an illusion. In just a moment, she had already vanished without a trace. I've never expected Yun Xiao's sex heritage to be strong to this point, Yi Qingtang thought in her heart as she watched Yi Yu disappear. Even to super sex, a spatial teleport talisman was extremely precious. It was evident that Yun Xiao's sect valued Yi Yu very highly. Otherwise, they would not have handed this treasure to Yi Yu for her to protect her life. With the spatial teleport talisman, even Ning Luo could only watch Yi Yu leave before him now. As Yi Yu left after using the spatial teleport talisman, Ning Luo looked at Yi Qingtang and subsequently took a cold glance of the surroundings. There was already no one in the vicinity. When Ning Luo appeared and injured Yi Yu with a strike, the disciples from the super sects had already fled in advance, deeply afraid that they would encounter a calamity. Swoosh! In the next second, Ning Luo and the Ice Frost Divine Sword combined into one again. The Ice Frost Divine Sword rushed into the sky and disappeared in no time. When Yi Qingtang sensed that the aura of the Ice Frost Divine Sword had completely vanished, she finally ascertained that Ning Luo had really left the hell of Avicenaraka mystic realm this time. To prevent more troubles, Yi Qingtang brought the Blood Moon Elder and the little white tiger out of the place in the fastest time possible and hid in a rather remote corner. With the death of the Xianling sect's Grand Elder and the departure of Ning Luo, the hell of Avicenaraka mystic realm finally quieted down. Yi Qingtang was caught off guard by the entire experience in the mystic realm. The schemer of the mystic realm was actually Xianling sect's Grand Elder, while Ning Luo was that extraordinary lattice sword. As the Grand Elder had said, their scheme had to start in advance because of her. In her previous life, Xianling sect's annihilation happened a few years later. In her previous life, when Xianling sect was annihilated, Yi Qingtang was already forced to leave this mainland. Thus, she did not know about the dimension wall and the story behind the extraordinary lady and this mainland. Yi Qingtang guessed that in her previous life, apart from Yi Yu who possessed the spatial teleport talisman and left safely, everyone else in the mystic realm should have died in this mystic realm. As for why Ouyang Qian could enter this mystic realm, perhaps it was because of an uncontrollable factor due to the advanced opening of the mystic realm. The reason was very simple actually. If they followed the timeline of her previous life, the mystic realm would have started several years later when Ouyang Qian was occupied with the domestic trivia of the Ouyang family clan and had no spare time for anything else. Because the mystic realm started in advance, many unexpected incidents that never happened in her previous life occurred. A long while later, Yi Qingtang stopped her train of thought and did not think any further. There was a rather huge gain in this trip into the mystic realm. Apart from the Black Heaven water, she also obtained an extremely precious illusion stone on top of hundreds of pounds of Millennium Meteoric Iron. Furthermore, her skills had advanced to a half-step Yin-Yang perfected lord. It could be said that in the thousands of people who entered the hell of Avicenaraka mystic realm, none of their gains could be compared to Yi Qingtang's. Most of them had lost their lives here and had not even seen a treasure this whole time. Chapter 669 Leaving the Mystic Realm. 3. Only a small number of people were lucky enough to obtain some inheritances and treasures as they ran for their lives. Only Yi Yu obtained a destiny of a land of inheritance, but when compared to Yi Qingtang, Yi Yu's gains still paled greatly in comparison. Even Yi Qingtang did not think that she would be the one to obtain the Fiend Celestial Beast after entering the hell of Avicenaraka. She still remembered how when they just entered the hell of Avicenaraka mystic realm, she only thought of leaving this place alive and never expected to obtain any destinies or treasures. Currently, there was still some time for Yi Qingtang's spirit root to advance a grade. Thus, it was not appropriate to use the Black Heaven water to cleanse it in this period of time, and Yi Qingtang was not in a hurry either. In the next few days, there was not a moment that Yi Qingtang rested as she consolidated her cultivation at her hiding place. On the other hand, the little white tiger slept soundly while the Blood Moon Elder patrolled the surroundings. The past few days were rather calm and quiet, and nothing special happened. Most of the remaining survivors in the Hell of Avicenaraka seemed to be hidden as well. No one was clear whether that Ice Frost Divine Sword left or hid somewhere. If he returned again like before, he would probably slay anyone he saw. Dawn. The Blood Moon Elder entered the cave that Yi Qingtang was hiding in and spoke. Holy Lady, not much happened in the past few days. It seems that everyone is waiting for the Hell of Avicenaraka mystic realm to close. Yi Qingtang nodded. It was the same as what she expected. The interior of the giant tower was not as dangerous as the Hell of Avicenaraka mystic realm. As long as they did not leave the giant tower or risk their lives and head to the dangerous areas, they would not encounter any danger. Several hours later, the Hell of Avicenaraka dimmed. Heaven and earth seemed to suddenly reverse. When Yi Qingtang opened her eyes again, she was already out of the Hell of Avicenaraka mystic realm. The wind caressed her cheeks as she stepped on the flat land. It was only then when Yi Qingtang returned to her senses. At this instant, she had finally left that dangerous Hell of Avicenaraka mystic realm. Although she had gained many things, she was unwilling to come to this place another time. Holy Lady, are we out? The Blood Moon Elder looked at the dense forest that surrounded them. Yi Qingtang nodded slightly. They were finally out. Once the Hell of Avicenaraka mystic realm closed, the remaining survivors were subsequently released at various areas. There were no other survivors nearby where Yi Qingtang was released. Where do we go now? The Blood Moon Elder fixed his thoughts. God knew how torturous that Hell of Avicenaraka mystic realm was. Fuck. Why am I out? The little white tiger crawled up. When it saw the beautiful forest around it, it was utterly stupefied. It had been in the Hell of Avicenaraka mystic realm for a long time. Even if the mystic realm opened or closed, it did not have any influence on it. But, why was it out this time? Yi Qingtang looked at the dumbstruck little white tiger. Did you forget that you signed an equality contract with me? Once the mystic realm closed, all people would be removed from the mystic realm. The little white tiger was originally not in the scope of being removed, but she and the little white tiger signed a contract. Hence, when she was being sent out, the miserable fiend celestial beast was also sent out as well. The little white tiger glared at the calm Yi Qingtang, and all of its hair stood up. Fuck you. I'm not leaving. If you all want to leave, you all can leave by yourselves. Chapter 670 Leaving the Mystic Realm. 4. The Blood Moon Elder's lips twitched. They wished to leave the Hell of Avicenaraka mystic realm as fast as possible, yet this fiend celestial beast still wanted to stay in it. You still want to go back in? The Blood Moon Elder asked. The little white tiger said, duh. Everyone outside wants to drink my blood and eat my flesh. The Hell of Avicenaraka mystic realm is still the safest. You all can leave. I won't walk you out already. Just come back frequently to visit me. It wanted to retreat backward, but when its 4 tiny paws took a few steps, it was already picked up by Yi Qingtang by its neck. Fuck you. Why are you grabbing me? Quickly put me down. Are you a fool? Yi Qingtang looked at the little white tiger which bared its fangs and brandished its claws in hopes of escaping. Fuck you. You are the fool. The Hell of Avicenaraka mystic realm is already closed. How are you going to go back? Yi Qingtang raised the hand that was holding onto the little white tiger and let it see its surroundings. After glancing a full round, there were only green trees in the surroundings and not a slight trace of the mystic realm's entrance. The little white tiger that was still struggling initially was completely dumbfounded after taking a sweeping glance. It's Hell of Avicenaraka mystic realm. It's all your fault. You caused me to lose even my last shelter. If I leave, won't I have to endure many hardships and drift from place to place? Despair filled the little white tiger's face. Thinking about its miserable life when it was chased after for its life, it wished it could rush back into the hell of Avicenaraka mystic realm. Since you really don't wish to leave, I'll let you have your wish. After saying that, Yi Qingtang immediately placed the little white tiger back on the ground. You can stay here to wait for the next time the mystic realm opens. The little white tiger, which regained its freedom, was instantly a little dumbfounded. Wait for the mystic realm to open the next time. God knows how many years this mystic realm required to open. If it continued to waste time here waiting, God knows how many humans and demonic beasts it would encounter. Almost when its paws landed on the ground, the little white tiger turned around, leaped, and directly hugged Yi Qingtang's calf. Wait! I changed my mind. Change your mind? Yi Qingtang raised a brow slightly. The little white tiger looked up and nodded seriously. Since I've already signed an equality contract, I must be responsible for you. Thus, I'll leave with you. I must protect your safety. Yi Qingtang rubbed her temples. She suddenly had an impulse to stuff it back into the hell of Avicenaraka mystic realm. Yi Qingtang had just left the hell of Avicenaraka mystic realm and could not be bothered with this crazy fiend celestial beast, so she allowed it to nag. After observing for a moment, Yi Qingtang brought the Blood Moon Elder and the little white tiger away from this forest. Before night fell, they found a cave to rest in. When they were in the hell of Avicenaraka, they had to be cautious every moment. Now that they were finally free from that dangerous land, Yi Qingtang and the Blood Moon Elder could finally sleep peacefully. The moonlight enshrouded the place gradually. Yi Qingtang and the Blood Moon Elder fell asleep soundly. The little white tiger was sprawled outside the cave, seeming to be in a deep sleep as well. In this dark night, a ball of black fog quietly floated out from Yi Qingtang's chest. Very quickly, that fog condensed into a little black ball about the size of a palm. The little black ball suddenly opened its eyes and looked straight at the little white tiger, which was sleeping outside the cave. The appearance of the little black ball caused the little lightning dragon in Yi Qingtang's arms to wriggle instinctively. It peeked its head out silently and looked at the little black ball. Don't worry. I will not use your body again for now. Moreover, I found an even better one. The little black ball narrowed its eyes in satisfaction as it stared at the snow-white body of the little white tiger. When they were in the hell of Avicenaraka previously, the little black ball's powers were suppressed within the heart of the demon god. Even if Yi Qingtang was endangered, it could not appear and break free from that suppression. Fortunately, they went through the daunting experience without mishaps. The little lightning dragon's body was still not powerful enough. Rather, the fiend celestial beast before it. At that thought, the little black ball shuffled to the little white tiger's side immediately. However, just as the little black ball was about to reach the little white tiger, which was originally in deep sleep, suddenly opened its eyes. Almost the same instant when the little white tiger opened its eyes, a powerful demonic air suddenly surged out from its body, and its body enlarged extremely quickly. Get lost. Don't disturb me. All of a sudden, a large and muscular fiend celestial beast stared at the little black ball that was about the size of a palm. At this very instant, its eyes became especially sharp. Even when it was in the hell of Avicenaraka mystic realm, it had never displayed such a sharp bearing before. The little black ball was dumbfounded instantly. Looking at the fiend celestial beast whose bearing suddenly changed drastically, it was inevitable that it was astounded. However, before the little black ball took another step, the aura that swelled out from the fiend celestial beast had already awakened Yi Qingtang. Sitting up absent-mindedly, she narrowed her eyes and looked in the direction of the aura. At the same time when Yi Qingtang rose, the little black ball shuffled into the little lightning dragon's body at lightning speed. The little lightning dragon was dumbfounded. What about the said, will not use your body? In the next second, a ball of light enveloped the little lightning dragon's body, which suddenly enlarged. When the light faded, the little dragon man with a pair of dragon horns appeared before Yi Qingtang. Mother, the little black ball, which took over the little lightning dragon's body once again, buried its head in Yi Qingtang's arms as it wriggled around comfortably. Yi Qingtang looked at the little lightning dragon, which suddenly turned into its human form in a daze. A hint of shock flashed across her eyes. This little fellow had not turned into its human form for a long time, and she almost forgot that it had that ability already. However, before Yi Qingtang could think why this little fellow suddenly transformed, she looked up instinctively only to see the gigantic fiend celestial beast that covered the entire cave entrance. The little white tiger, which was initially so tiny, had now turned into the fiend celestial beast with an imposing aura. Furthermore, at that very instant, the expression in the fiend celestial beast's eyes was especially sharp, and its eyes were staring right at the little dragon man in her arms. You are. Yi Qingtang faintly sensed something wrong with the fiend celestial beast. Even when they were in the hell of Avicenaraka mystic realm, she had never seen such a serious expression in its eyes before. The fiend celestial beast narrowed its eyes and subsequently put away all of its aura. Its huge body turned into that tiny little white tiger before Yi Qingtang's eyes. Fuck. I can't even have a peaceful sleep. The little white tiger puffed, though its eyes casually swept across the little black ball that was nested in Yi Qingtang's arms. A cold glint flashed across its eyes. Then, it did not say anything else, strutted away, and went to sleep once again. Chapter 672, 9 Nights Dynasty, 1. Yi Qingtang's head ached a little as she looked at the little white tiger, which went back to sleep, not understanding what happened to the fiend celestial beast again. Mother, do you miss me? The little dragon man looked up at Yi Qingtang. Wasn't it nested in her arms all day? Did she still need to miss it? Making contact with the little dragon man's big, bright eyes, Yi Qingtang could only nod helplessly. She really did not understand why this little fellow was so glued to her. It's late. Let's rest early. Yi Qingtang patted the little dragon man's head. She woke up in the middle of her sleep and was still a little tired. Moreover, she still had to hit the road the next morning and thus needed to be fully rested. The little dragon man nodded in satisfaction. As Yi Qingtang laid down, the little dragon man snuggled next to her obediently. Right before it closed its eyes, it discreetly swept a glance at the little white tiger, which was sleeping not far away. The next morning when Yi Qingtang and the rest woke up, the little black ball had already returned into Yi Qingtang's body, while the little lightning dragon, which was once again sucked dry, wilted. It would never believe anything that little bully said again. Holy lady, where are we going next? The Blood Moon Elder asked Yi Qingtang. I'll send you home, Yi Qingtang said with a smile. Ah. Home. Are we returning to the Blood Moon sect? The Blood Moon Elder's eyes lit up immediately. However, Yi Qingtang's next words utterly kicked the Blood Moon Elder out from his delusions. Accurately speaking, it's sending you back to Ouyang Qian's home. Yi Qingtang scanned the Blood Moon Elder with a grin. Yi Qingtang already had a plan in mind. There were orders to kill her everywhere in Formidable Heaven's Dynasty now, and it would be inconvenient for her to return. On the other hand, this mystic realm was not far away from the 9 Nights Dynasty. If they went to the 9 Nights Dynasty, it would be more convenient. There were only a few months left for Xianling sect's defense, and she had to reach the true Yin-Yang perfected Lord state in this period of time in order to save the entire Xianling sect. To break through to the Yin-Yang perfected Lord in such a short span of time, she could only head to Falling Sky Valley. Furthermore, Yi Qingtang retrieved a tiny jade pendant from her space ring. This space ring was given to her by her foster father, who made it clear that it was found on her when they picked her up, and it was probably related to her parentage. The origin of this jade pendant was related to the royals of the 9 Nights Dynasty. Regardless of becoming more powerful or tracing her parentage, Yi Qingtang had to head to the 9 Nights Dynasty and Falling Sky Valley. Holy lady, do I really have to go to the Ouyang family? Despair was seen on the Blood Moon Elder's face. Let alone that he was already forced to become a female, his holy lady still wanted to send him to the Ouyang family to be someone's daughter. In his entire life, he had never experienced such torture before. When he thought that he might have to call the Ouyang family clan master, father, disgust filled him. Not only do you have to go there, but you also have to use Ouyang family clan's influence to help me check something, Yi Qingtang said. What is it? The Blood Moon Elder asked. Yi Qingtang held the jade pendant in front of the Blood Moon Elder. Look at this jade pendant clearly. It said that this jade pendant is related to the royals of the Nine Knights dynasty. When you've returned to the Ouyang family clan, help me find out about it. The Ouyang family clan was a super family clan in the Nine Knights dynasty. Given their position and influence, they could definitely find out about secrets that ordinary people could not. The Blood Moon Elder was filled with confusion as he looked at that jade pendant. He could sense that this jade pendant had an extraordinary significance to Holy Lady, otherwise, she would not order him to investigate it so solemnly. Rest assured, Holy Lady. I will definitely do my best. After giving a slight nod, Yi Qingtang turned to look at the little white tiger which was still sleeping soundly. Under the warm sunlight, the little white tiger was comfortably sprawled on its back with its stomach exposed. Before we go to the Nine Knights dynasty, I still need to make some preparations. Afterward, Yi Qingtang narrowed her eyes balefully and walked right towards the little white tiger. The little white tiger was still sleeping soundly and had not realized the incoming danger. It was still dreaming, but suddenly, it felt a tight grip at the back of its neck, and it was directly lifted off the ground. It widened its eyes in horror and met with Yi Qingtang's eyes that hid a subtle smile. Fuck you. What are you doing? Yi Qingtang raised her hand and flicked the tip of the little white tiger's nose. If you curse at me again, I won't hold back anymore. I need to help you make a tiny change now. I'm very good now. I don't need any changes. The little white tiger rubbed its painful nose as it looked at Yi Qingtang in horror. Don't be nervous. I'm just helping you to dye a color. Afterward, Yi Qingtang brought the little white tiger to the stream outside the cave with another hand touching her space ring. There was already a number of people who saw the little white tiger's appearance in the hell of Avicenaraka mystic realm. Although white tigers were not a frequent sight, if anyone found out about it, Yi Qingtang might be embroiled in troubles because of it. Luckily, it was simple to dye a white tiger into the appearance of a common tiger. Die. Woman, put me down quickly. If you don't let me go, I won't hold back anymore. After hearing that, the little white tiger's hair stood up. However, no matter how loudly it roared, it was still brought to the stream by Yi Qingtang. In no time, Yi Qingtang brought a little tiger with orange fur back. The Blood Moon Elder almost burst out laughing there and then when he saw the little white tiger which still had some wet patches on its body. The little white tiger became a little orange tiger in an instant. It must be said that the color did not feel out of place. Woman. If not for the fact that I signed a contract with you, such mischief is already enough for me to kill you countless times. The little white tiger glared at Yi Qingtang. After hearing that, the smile on the Blood Moon Elder's lips twisted. Until when is this damn fiend celestial beast going to be so stubborn? Find authorized novels in Webnovel Faster Updates, better experience please click for visiting. Revolt if you have the ability. Without responding to the little white tiger, Yi Qingtang took out a bottle of elixir from her space ring and consumed it. That elixir was used for changing one's looks. The young teen which Yi Qingtang disguised as was already exposed before everyone by the Grand Elder, and she could only use other objects to disguise herself. A while after the elixir was consumed, a subtle change appeared in her appearance. The original soft features gradually had traces of willfulness like that of a young boy. Although it was different from her previous male appearance, her features were still exquisite and outstanding. As Yi Qingtang's lips curled up slightly, she immediately turned into a beautiful boy who could bewitch anyone. After making all the preparations, Yi Qingtang changed into a male outfit and brought the dyed little white tiger and the Blood Moon Elder out. They bought a carriage in a small town on their way and were on their journey to the Nine Knights Dynasty. The Nine Knights Dynasty had a vast territory. As one of the two big dynasties in this mainland, its territory was especially large. The Ouyang family clan was the #1 family clan of the Nine Knights Dynasty and was situated in the Monarch City. The land in the Monarch City of Nine Knights Dynasty was the largest city in the dynasty. It stretched a full 100 miles, and the spirit energy in that land was rich. Setting this land apart to build this city was initially intended by the first emperor of Nine Knights Dynasty. Apart from the royals of Nine Knights Dynasty, most of the various dominant forces were built up in the Monarch City. This included Yi Qingtang's destination, Falling Sky Valley. The dominant forces counterbalanced each other in the Monarch City, and the Nine Knights Dynasty royal family did not dare to interfere too much. Sitting in the carriage, Yi Qingtang looked out of the window while holding onto the jade pendant in her hands. The scene outside became increasingly familiar to her. She still vividly remembered this scene she saw when she fled into the Nine Knights Dynasty in her previous life. Afterward, she was accepted by perfected Xianchen as a disciple and entered Falling Sky Valley. Although it was the same road, the situations in this life and the previous were completely different. In this life, she would definitely not be as miserable. Holy Lady, we are reaching the Nine Knight Dynasty's Monarch City very soon. The Blood Moon Elder saw the boundless city wall not far away from the carriage window and turned around to inform Yi Qingtang. When we enter the Monarch City, don't call me Holy Lady anymore. Yi Qingtang replied. Ah. Then I'll call you Darling Yi. The Blood Moon Elder looked at Yi Qingtang endearingly. Yi Qingtang's lips froze. She was just this close to throwing the Blood Moon Elder out of the carriage. Call me young Sir Yi. Remember, I am called Yi Chen now, Yi Qingtang said. Oh. Young Sir Yi. The Blood Moon Elder followed after Yi Qingtang's words. Yi Qingtang turned around and looked at Little White Tiger, which had a lifeless expression. Ever since it was dyed another color, its eyes were filled with nothing but misery. Little White, don't be so anxious. Your dyed color is only temporary. The Little White Tiger quivered at the address of Little White. Fuck you. Who allowed you to anyhow name me? You're Little White. Your whole family is Little White. The Little White Tiger shouted in fury. Yi Qingtang rubbed her chin as she looked at the orange fur that stood all over the Little White Tiger's body. Then I'll call you Little Orange. You're little. Your whole family is little. The Blood Moon Elder took a glance of the Little White Tiger and curled his lips secretly. Does it still think it is very big? Yi Qingtang did not know whether to laugh or cry as she looked at the rebelling Little White Tiger. Little White, you must not open your mouth so casually anymore once we enter the Monarch City. Otherwise, if people find out that you're not an ordinary tiger, I dare not guarantee anything. The Little White Tiger froze for a moment, and a serious expression appeared on its face. Don't worry. I said that I would guarantee your safety. Why did it become that it was protecting her? A laugh escaped her lips as she shook her head. Just as Yi Qingtang chuckled, the carriage had already arrived at the city gates of the Monarch City. As the Monarch City of the Nine Knights Dynasty, which was also a territory of the dominant forces, the guards at the city gates were extremely strict with the entry and exit of people. Non-citizens of the Monarch City and ordinary people were not allowed to enter or leave the city as they wished. Immediately, the soldiers at the city gates stopped the carriage that Yi Qingtang and the rest were in. Chapter 675, Ouyang Family Clan, 1. The Blood Moon Elder peeked his head out without waiting for Yi Qingtang to say anything. Once Ouyang Qian's face appeared, the few guards immediately let them pass. The Ouyang family clan's influence in Nine Knights Dynasty was extraordinary, and the guards at the Monarch City naturally recognized the young miss of the Ouyang family clan. It was, however, that they found it strange, since when would Ouyang family clan's young miss sit in such a plain carriage? As the carriage entered the monarch city successfully, Yi Qingtang glanced at the scenery in the city. Seeing that they were about to reach the main door of the Ouyang family clan, she suddenly turned to look at the Blood Moon Elder. Do you remember everything I said about Ouyang Qian and the Ouyang family clan? Rest assured, Holy Lady. I remember them clearly. The Blood Moon Elder nodded, knowing the seriousness of the matter. The Ouyang family clan was the #1 family clan in Nine Nights Dynasty, and its heritage was not what original family clans could compare to. The Blood Moon Elder stole Ouyang Qian's body currently, and if he accidentally let slip anything, the Ouyang family clan would skin him alive. Ouyang Qian behaves bossily, and the only person she is slightly obedient to is her father, who is Ouyang family clan's family clan master, Ouyang Jian. As long as you remember what I said previously clearly, there should not be any problems. Yi Qingtang warned. Noted, the Blood Moon Elder said and nodded. Wasn't it just a bossy young miss? How difficult was that? As they spoke, the carriage had already reached the main door of Ouyang family clan. When the few guards standing at the Ouyang family clan door saw a simple carriage stopping before them, they frowned immediately and walked up. This is Ouyang family clan's territory. Miscellaneous people are not to stay. Before waiting for the guard to finish speaking, a loud shout suddenly traveled out from the carriage. How dare you? Who gave you the audacity to stop my carriage? The moment that sound came out, the Ouyang family clan guards were stunned. They were more than familiar with this voice. Didn't it belong to their young miss, Ouyang Qian? As the guards were taken aback, the Blood Moon Elder who was in Ouyang Qian's skin walked out of the carriage with arrogance and impatience written all over her exquisite face. A group of good-for-nothings. Don't you all recognize me already? The Blood Moon Elder shouted coldly with a frown. Greetings, young miss. The group of guards bowed hurriedly as they broke out in a cold sweat. How would they have thought that their distinguished young miss would actually sit in such an old carriage? Yi Qingtang secretly raised her brows as she watched the Blood Moon Elder's arrogant attitude. It seems that the Blood Moon Elder had adapted to his new identity pretty well. That bossiness is quite on point. Humph. The Blood Moon Sect Elder lifted his chin arrogantly. At least he was an elder of Blood Moon Sect 1,000 years ago. This mighty stance was at his fingertips. If he was not thrown into this pit, he would not have gotten into so much trouble. Now that he saw how fearful the Ouyang family clan's guards behaved, it was really great. Make way quickly. Without looking at those guards, the Blood Moon Elder walked in himself. Yi Qingtang subsequently brought the little white tiger down the carriage and followed behind the Blood Moon Elder into the Ouyang family clan residence. The guards at the door could only watch that beautiful young man beside their young miss in surprise. Where did this beautiful young man jump out from? However, even if they were confused, no one dared to question as everyone knew that the Ouyang family clan's young miss was bad-tempered and obstinate. If they made her unhappy, they probably would not even know how they died. The Blood Moon Elder and Yi Qingtang entered the Ouyang family clan together. Upon hearing the news, the housekeeper immediately brought people to welcome them. Please forgive us for not welcoming you earlier as we did not know you were returning today, young Mississippi. Do pardon us. The housekeeper welcomed her respectfully. The Blood Moon Elder nodded arrogantly. This is... The housekeeper instinctively looked at the beautiful young man beside Ouyang Qian. The Blood Moon Elder's face darkened immediately. Do I still need to tell you who I bring back? I don't dare. I've overstepped my line. You better not dare. Where's my FA, father? The Blood Moon Elder was a little awkward when he mentioned the word father. The Qin family's eldest young sir is here for a visit today. The family master is in the hall right now. Qin family's eldest young sir. The Blood Moon Elder was not very clear about the Qin family's eldest young sir and looked towards Yi Qingtang instinctively. However, a cold glint suddenly flashed across Yi Qingtang's eyes. She only told the Blood Moon Elder about the relations of the people in the Ouyang family clan and forgot that Qin Chen existed. Qin Chen was the son of Qin Long, the current premier of the Nine Knights dynasty. Although the Nine Knights dynasty was controlled by the Nine Knights royals on the surface, the emperor suddenly became seriously ill a few years ago and could not preside the political affairs. As such, he had to pass his position on to his young son who was only 5 years old back then. The premier, Qin Long, was appointed as a supporting minister to help the new emperor in presiding over the political affairs. However, no matter how intelligent a 5-year-old kid was, he definitely did not have the ability to control the court. Although Qin Long was a premier, he secretly controlled most of the power in the Nine Knights dynasty with the excuse that the emperor was young, and he even cajoled the young emperor to fully believe in him. Currently, the Nine Knights dynasty was gradually descending into corruption and chaos, and this was mostly related to Qin Long's control. Qin Chen was Qin Long's only son and was very doted on by Qin Long. Moreover, Qin Long had planned to form a marriage alliance with the number 1 family clan, Ouyang family clan, and he thus wanted Qin Chen to interact more with Ouyang Qian. When Yi Qingtang knew Ouyang Qian back then, Ouyang Qian and Qin Chen were extremely close. From what she knew, when Ouyang Qian drugged her, it was Qin Chen who helped Ouyang Qian get the drug, and it was also him who told Ouyang Qian about Yi Qingtang's heart of the demon god. Yi Qingtang did not expect that he would actually bump into Qin Chen here. She secretly gave a look to the Blood Moon Elder for him to not act rashly, which he understood immediately. He told the housekeeper. "All right. You can retreat first. I'll just go to the hall myself later." The housekeeper did not dare to defy orders and obediently led the people away. Looking at his current stance where every word carried weight, the Blood Moon Elder was increasingly comfortable, seeming to return to his arrogance when he was in his peak back in the years. Now, it seemed that there were benefits in seizing Ouyang Qian's body. After all, the Ouyang family clan's position was not ordinary, and Ouyang Qian was deeply doted on by the Ouyang family clan master, Ouyang Jian. In the Nine Knights dynasty, it could be said that she could have anything she wanted. When the Ouyang family clan servants left, Yi Qingtang immediately notified the Blood Moon Elder of Qin Chen's identity, though she naturally hid the fact that Qin Chen wanted to seduce Ouyang Qian. Chapter 677, Ouyang Family Clan, 3. When you see Ouyang Jian later, just speak as how we planned earlier. Yi Qingtang told the Blood Moon Elder. As long as they could get past this stage, the Blood Moon Elder's identity as the Ouyang family clan's young miss would be solidified. After all, there were rare cases of possessing others' body. As long as the Blood Moon Elder did not expose himself, there should not be any problems. In the hall of the Ouyang family clan, Ouyang Jian was seated at the highest-ranking position. Although he was over 50 years old, he maintained his appearance well. He had a good-looking face, and there was not a single gray hair to be seen. "Oh, Qian is back." A smile suddenly broke out on Ouyang Jian's stoic face. He was extremely happy that his daughter returned safely. "Yes." The housekeeper replied honestly. After hearing that, a handsome man in the hall spoke immediately. "Miss Qian is a good person and is protected by the god." Uncle Ouyang was worried that Qian may meet with danger in this mystic realm. "Now that she has returned, your heart can finally be at ease." Ouyang Jian laughed. "Qian is stubborn. I originally did not wish for her to head to this mystic realm herself, but I could not convince her. Fortunately, she returned safely though. Since you happen to be here today as well, treat it as welcoming Qian back home." That handsome man was the current premier's son, Qin Chen. "That is of course. I haven't seen Qian for a long time as well." Qin Chen replied with a smile. As they spoke, 2 figures arrived in the hall. When Ouyang Jian saw the girl at the front, his eyes were immediately filled with a loving expression. Qian, you're back. When the Blood Moon Elder saw Ouyang Jian, who was beaming dotingly, he felt an infarction and could only force himself to reply. Fa. Father, I'm back. It's good that you're back. Why are you back alone? Where are the rest? Ouyang Jian looked behind the Blood Moon Elder. For this trip to the mystic realm, he specially arranged quite a number of people to accompany his daughter. However, apart from a foreign-looking young man behind her, there was not a single member from the Ouyang family clan. The Blood Moon Elder glanced at Yi Qingtang from the corner of his eyes. When he saw Yi Qingtang nodding at him discreetly, grief and indignation filled him. He took a deep breath and pinched his thigh hard without leaving a trace. The extreme pain that took over him forced 2 drops of tears out of his eyes. Right after that, he looked up at Ouyang Jian with a grieved expression. Father. Everyone died, what? The smile on Ouyang Jian's face froze instantly. That mystic realm was simply a trap. After we entered it, we realized that it was simply not an ordinary mystic realm but a 100-level peril hell of Avicenaraka. The danger level of it was simply unimaginable. Many of us died soon after entering the mystic realm. If not for the fact that I met Holy Young Sir Yi, my life would probably have ended in there, the Blood Moon Elder wailed as he pinched his thigh, brilliantly putting on the grieved expression. There's actually such a thing. Ouyang Jian's face darkened when he saw his precious daughter crying so pitifully. He immediately stood up and walked to the Blood Moon Elder, patting his back with a doting expression. Don't be afraid, Qian. Now that you're back home, no one can harm you anymore. Chapter 678, Ouyang Family Clan. 4. The Blood Moon Elder was disgusted from being patted by Ouyang Jian but could only force himself to lean on his father's arm frailly in search for comfort. Ouyang Jian looked at his daughter in his arms with a frown. Then, he looked up at the beautiful young man who followed the Blood Moon Elder into the Ouyang family clan. However, at this instant, there was less affection and more sharpness in his eyes. I am Yi Chen, Yi Qingtang said in a dignified manner. May I know who your master is? Ouyang Jian asked cautiously. Although the Blood Moon Elder said that this young man was his benefactor, Ouyang Jian did not believe it easily. Given the Ouyang family clan's position, many people schemed to cling to them. Yi Chen was of dubious background, and no one knew what his motive of saving Ouyang Jian was. Yi Qingtang obviously knew what Ouyang Jian was thinking of. Ouyang Jian was a cautious and ruthless person. He only displayed a kind father's appearance to Ouyang Jian but was exceptionally fierce to others. I'm just an itinerant cultivator. Itinerant cultivator? Ouyang Jian's eyes sharpened. He had heard a thing or two about the 100-level peril hell of Avicenaraka before. The people whom the Ouyang family clan sent out this time were all at martial chi level 3 and above, and even Ouyang Qian was at martial chi level 3 herself. So many aces lost their lives in the hell of Avicenaraka, but how capable was this Yi Chen to be able to escape safely and even save his daughter? I've troubled you this time, young Sir Yi. Since you saved Qian, the Ouyang family will naturally not treat you badly. Afterward, Ouyang Jian turned around and spoke to the Blood Moon Elder. Qian, you were shocked and will need to recuperate. Someone retrieve the Lingyue elixir for young Mississippi. The Blood Moon Elder's eyes brightened immediately upon hearing those 2 words. The Lingyue pill was a miracle pill that could replenish one's qi and blood and nourish one's muscles and veins. It was a treasure that normal people could not even buy with money. Before the Blood Moon Elder returned to his senses, the housekeeper had already brought a bottle of Lingyue elixir and handed it to the Blood Moon Elder. Qian, if you need anything, just tell me. I will not let you suffer ever again, Ouyang Jian said dearly. This time, the Blood Moon Elder did not find it disgusting at all. Looking at the bottle that was filled to the brim with Lingyue elixir and hearing Ouyang Jian's promise, his heart bloomed. How was Ouyang family clan's heritage? How plentiful were their treasures? Just by how Ouyang Jian pampered Ouyang Qian, he would thrive in the Ouyang family from now on. Thank you, father, the Blood Moon elder said with a smile, saying, father, smoothly and cleanly this time. Qian, I didn't think that this trip would be so alarmingly dangerous. Just nice I have some imperial spirit pills. Do accept it too. Qin Chen, who had been silent throughout, suddenly stood up. He took out a few bottles of pills from his space ring and handed them to the Blood Moon elder. Although the imperial spirit pill was not as precious as the Lingyue pill, it was extremely rare as well. With Yi Qingtang's earlier reminder, the Blood Moon elder naturally recognized the man before him. However, to him, there was no such logic as rejecting a treasure that was sent right to his doorstep. I'll accept it then. The Blood Moon elder took those bottles of imperial spirit pill over from Qin Chen. In just a moment, he gained several bottles of precious elixirs and pills successively without even doing anything. The Blood Moon elder was more than delighted. Chapter 679, Black Market, 1, wasn't it just being a woman? He would just go all out. Yi Qingtang looked at the blissful Blood Moon elder and did not know whether to laugh or cry. She increasingly felt that her cheap brother must have been blind to let the Blood Moon elder attain the position as an elder back then. Just as Yi Qingtang secretly chuckled, she suddenly felt a sharp gaze on her. She looked up discreetly but realized that Qin Chen was scanning her with a sharp and intense gaze. Young Sir Yi, thank you for your help this time. I am Qin Chen, the son of the Nine Knights Dynasty's premier. If there's anything you need help with in the future, just let me know. When Qin Chen sensed Yi Qingtang's gaze, the sharpness in his eyes faded away quietly, and it was replaced with a dashing smile like that of a distinguished young sir. Yi Qingtang was wearing plain clothes which were made from relatively ordinary material and did not have any accessories on her. Compared to Qin Chen, who was donned in an elegant outfit, she naturally did not have a noble air to her. You're too polite, young Sir Qin. I still have something on. I'm just sending Miss Ouyang back first today. Now that she has safely reached, I'll take my leave, Yi Qingtang said plainly. Hearing that Yi Qingtang was leaving, the Blood Moon elder, who was initially gleeful over the treasures he just obtained, immediately looked up. What? You're leaving now? Although Yi Qingtang did tell him of the plan for the coming time, the Blood Moon elder did not think that she would leave so quickly. Perhaps because he was a little anxious, there were traces of nervousness in his tone. However, that nervousness had a different meaning in Qin Chen's ears. Qin Chen narrowed his eyes secretly, sizing up the young man. Although that young man was wearing simple and plain clothes, his exquisite features were too striking, and even Qin Chen had rarely seen such a good-looking male. Qin Chen knew of his father's plan from a long time ago and had been deliberately creating opportunities to get closer to Ouyang Qian. He did not expect Yi Chen to appear out of nowhere. It should be known that not only was Yi Chen Ouyang Qian's life savior, he was also extremely handsome, and the two of them had been spending time together alone for some time before she returned. If Ouyang Qian's heart was really moved by Yi Chen, Qin Chen frowned secretly. No one was allowed to disrupt his plans. Yes, Miss Ouyang. I still have things to do, Yi Qingtang said without emotions. Anyway, she saw that the Blood Moon elder was completely into his new identity, and she did not need to worry at all. The Blood Moon elder could not say anything further. Ouyang Jian was generous and ordered people to prepare many gifts of thanks for Yi Qingtang, which she accepted all without declining. Her behavior put Ouyang Jian's mind slightly more at ease. Qin Chen did not say anything and merely observed Yi Qingtang's every action, seeming to be thinking about something. I'll take my leave then. Yi Qingtang bade farewell to the Blood Moon elder and brought the little white tiger out of the Ouyang family clan. As long as the Blood Moon Elder could maintain his identity in the Ouyang family clan, she believed that she could find out the origins of her jade pendant with the Ouyang family clan's influence in no time. That nagging woman is gone. My eardrums can finally have its peace and quietness. As the little white tiger watched Yi Qingtang leaving the Ouyang family clan, it was very satisfied with the Blood Moon Elder's departure. Yi Qingtang was speechless as she looked at the little white tiger, which was similarly talkative. After settling the Blood Moon Elder down, Yi Qingtang was not in a hurry to head to Falling Sky Valley. While her original demonic blood sword was pretty good, it was insufficient when compared to her current skills. There was still quite an amount of Millennium Meteoric Iron in her space ring. If she could use these to forge a new sword, she would become even more powerful. At that thought, Yi Qingtang headed to the underground black market in the Monarch City based on what she remembered from her previous life. That was a land of darkness concealed beneath the glamorous Monarch City. In the underground black market, there was nothing that could not be sold. Anyone familiar with the Monarch City knew that they had to head to the underground black market if they wished to obtain a truly good thing. In her previous life, Yi Qingtang went to the underground black market with the eldest senior brother of Falling Sky Valley. It was the first time she saw the various transactions hidden in the dark. However, Yi Qingtang's real objective of going to the underground black market was not to buy anything. She wanted to find a person. A blacksmith who lived in seclusion in the underground black market. The forging process for the Millennium Meteoric Iron was extremely complicated, and normal forging workshops did not have the conditions to forge it. No matter how skilled Yi Qingtang's forgery was, if she did not have the tools, she could only look at it. Moreover, the Millennium Meteoric Iron was extremely precious, and Yi Qingtang was unable to find it even in her previous life. Thus, she did not know how to use the Millennium Meteoric Iron. In her previous life, her master, perfected Xianchen, had always wanted to forge a weapon with the Millennium Meteoric Iron. Thus, he even specially found a blacksmith who had been living in seclusion for a long time. That blacksmith was one of the few blacksmiths in the entire mainland that could forge a sword using Millennium Meteoric Iron. Yi Qingtang was going to the underground black market to find that blacksmith and ask for his help to forge a new weapon. The entrance to the underground black market was extremely covert. If not an insider, it was impossible for anyone to find it. Moreover, anyone who entered the underground black market was required to pay the entrance fee regardless of whether they were buying anything inside. After paying the fee, Yi Qingtang brought the little white tiger into the underground black market. The sun was ablaze in the Monarch City, but in the underground black market, it was rather dim and dusky, with only the flickering flames from the towering torches lighting this land of darkness hidden under the ground. This place is so smelly. The little white tiger wrinkled its nose the moment it entered the underground black market. Yi Qingtang glimpsed at the little white tiger. In reality, there was no foul smell in this underground black market. Instead, due to the spices sold in the market, there was quite an interesting smell. I don't wish to stay here for long. It's too stinky. Hurry up and do what you want to do. The little white tiger was a little impatient. The smell of those spices did not have any use, and the little white tiger could still smell the stench of decomposed matter concealed beneath the aroma. Your nose is really sharper than a dog's. Yi Qingtang chuckled. Of course. How can a dog's nose be compared to mine? The little white tiger lifted its chin. Did it really think she was complimenting him? Yi Qingtang did not intend to waste any time and walked towards the place that her master in her previous life mentioned. There were messy stalls everywhere in the black market where all sorts of rare treasures were sold. Chapter 681, Black Market, 3, What is that? The little white tiger suddenly stopped walking. It saw from afar several shabbily dressed girls shivering in fear as they stood on a wooden stage. Surrounding the stage were numerous wooden cages that were as tall as a person, and many dejected males and females were locked in it. Yi Qingtang stopped in her tracks slowly and looked in the direction that the little white tiger was looking at. When she saw the young girls whose limbs were chained, her brows furrowed automatically. The biggest difference between the underground black market and other places was the trafficking of slaves. Slave trafficking was forbidden in both Formidable Heaven's Dynasty and Nine Nights Dynasty, though such prohibition was merely on the surface. In Nine Nights Dynasty's underground black market, slave trafficking was still quietly carried out. Years ago, slave trafficking was completely prohibited in the Nine Nights Dynasty. However, ever since the previous emperor was down with illness and the young emperor succeeded the position, this forbidden transaction started again. Although the masses never mentioned it, everyone knew that the slave trafficking in the Nine Nights Dynasty was controlled by the premier Qin Long in reality. Currently, Qin Long presided over political affairs, and the emperor was young and ignorant. Thus, no one could stop the trafficking of slaves. With Qin Long as their backer, the slave owners were emboldened, and the transaction of slaves was all the more carried out in the open. There were a few muscular men who each held a barbed leather whip standing on both sides of the stage with fierce and evil expressions. Their bulky bodies were a starking contrast from those shabby young ladies. Despair and horror were etched on the faces of those young ladies. They could only stick to each other while trembling, yet their fear was an admiration pleasure of the buyers who were below the wooden stage. The slave masters waved the leather whip every now and then, making a loud sound. Frightened, those young ladies were shocked to an ash-white shade as they shrieked and whimpered softly. However, their despair and horror attracted the laughter of the onlookers. These are the new arrivals just sent a few days ago. I promise that you all will not be disappointed. A big and fleshy male who stood on the wooden stage laughed as he looked down at the buyers below. As he spoke, he reached out and pulled a young girl over, completely ignoring her struggle and pleas. He ripped her tattered clothes apart, crushing her dignity, and exposed her before everyone. TSK. You humans actually have such a special hobby. The little white tiger understood what was happening already. Those girls and the people in the cage were being sold as a commodity by those fellows who were also humans. Yi Qingtang's face darkened. In her previous life, when she came to the black market, she was mostly led by her other martial brothers, and they intentionally avoided the areas with slave trafficking. This was the first time Yi Qingtang witnessed the scene of a slave trafficking. As the onlookers laughed, the girl who was dragged out cried at the top of her lungs. However, her tears did not bring any compassion and instead excited the buyers. Right at that instant, a male in luxurious clothes arrived in the crowd with a few followers. While that man was dressed gorgeously, his face was exceptionally hideous, and his twisted features seemed to have been burnt before. Chapter 682, Skin 1. Once the slave master on the wooden stage saw that male, he immediately rushed up eagerly. Young Sir Shengguan, what brings you here today? When the group of buyers noticed that male, they instinctively made way. The male before them was called Shengguan Rui. His father was the Nine Nights Dynasty's Dragon Tiger General and had a large number of troops under him. He was one of Qin Long's trusted subordinates and was regarded highly by Qin Long. Shengguan Rui was the only son of the Dragon Tiger General. Although he had an honorable identity, he was born with many flaws. Not only was his appearance extremely hideous, but he also had a nauseating smell on his body since birth. Because of his flaws and the fact that his father was a general who controlled a massive amount of troops, he could do anything he wanted in the entire Nine Nights dynasty, and even normal influential ministers had to give in to him. Shengguan Rui glanced at the slave master and then at the girls on the wooden stage who were barely clothed. An evil glint shone in his uneven eyes. I heard that there are quite a few new arrivals today. I'm here to take a look. Yes. They all came not long ago and are all inexperienced. Do take a look, young Sir Shengguan. The slave master responded obsequiously with an arched back as he rubbed his hands. Shengguan Rui nodded slightly and walked up to the wooden stage with his guards. He stood before those trembling girls frivolously and looked at those terrified girls as though he was scanning through livestock. When he saw the girl whose clothes was torn by the slave master previously, his brows were raised slightly. He stretched a hand out and grabbed on the girl's hair as she was looking down, forcing her to look up. It was a fair and exquisite face. Her pretty facial features were filled with fear and despair. Large teardrops slipped out from the corner of her eyes as she trembled in fear. Her looks are not bad. Shangguan Rui took a glance of that girl and subsequently nodded at the slave master. The slave master immediately followed him and laughed. We brought this girl from the eastern region. She is quite young. Just 15. Please. Let me go. I beg you. The girl whose hair was tugged on by Shangguan Rui trembled in fear. Her tears were like jewels from a broken pearl necklace that dripped down continuously. This beauty is really good-looking when she cries. Shangguan Rui narrowed his eyes. As he looked at her terrified behavior, his twisted lips suddenly curled up, and he pulled the girl closer. Don't be afraid. I will not harm you. Don't worry. Am I not here to save you now? Shangguan Rui's voice was extremely soft, but there was something blood-curdling in his tone. On top of his unusually ugly face, such close distance caused the girl to be even more frightened. Yet in this despair, the girl seemed to have a straw to clutch at when she heard Shangguan Rui and looked at him imploringly with eyes wide open. Will you really save me? Of course. You're so good-looking. How can I bear for you to suffer here? Shangguan Rui's smile was increasingly sinister. You just need to listen obediently, and I will not harm you. Understand? The girl nodded staggeringly. However, just as she thought she seemed to have found a straw to clutch at, a cold glint suddenly flashed across Shangguan Rui's eyes. He raised his hand and threw that girl to his followers. Skin her. They would at most be humiliated if no one bought them, but if they landed in Shangguan Rui's hand, it would be worse than death. The skinned person would not die immediately, but without the protection of skin, as long as anything came into contact with the wounds, it would cause heart-wrenching pain. This torture was 100 times more miserable than death. At this moment, those girls were already frightened out of their wits. They even pleaded for someone to buy them away quickly as they were unwilling to land into Shangguan Rui's monstrous hands no matter what. However, who dared to snatch with Shangguan Rui? The buyers at the side had already retreated to a side quietly. Even if they witnessed everything, no one dared to utter a word. Shangguan Rui's eyes landed right on the remaining girls on the wooden stage. Chapter 684, Skin, 3, I want these few too. What other fresh stocks do you have? Just bring them all up. Don't bring some unpresentable ones to fool me, or I'll remove your skin. Shangguan Rui scoffed coldly and looked at the slave master. His words threw those girls into utter despair. A chill ran down the slave master's spine as he said hurriedly, yes, yes, yes. I'll go look for you right now. Then, the slave master immediately led a few people towards the other cages as the girls on the stage were kidnapped away by Shangguan Rui's followers. A girl looked directly at the wealthy businessman who wanted to buy her and pleaded. I beg you. Please buy me. I'm willing to do anything. Please. I beg you. However, that wealthy businessman did not dare to say anything at all. Although he did fancy this girl's beauty, he did not dare to snatch with Shangguan Rui no matter how bold he was. He fled hurriedly under the girl's pleas. While the wealthy businessman had his eye on the girl's appearance and wanted to buy her, he completely dropped that thought with Shangguan Rui here. Weighing his priorities between women and his life, the wealthy businessman obviously could distinguish which was more important. When the girls saw the wealthy businessman leaving the place, expressions of despair filled that girl's face, and her body shook violently. More people gathered in the surrounding, wanting to watch the fun. In this black market, those with money and power were the bosses. No one could dream of overstepping this rule. This was especially so for Shengguan Rui, a regular in the black market. He had an extremely bad reputation in the monarch city and committed all sorts of crimes, yet he had extremely powerful forces behind him, so no one dared to offend him at all. Although those slave masters found it a pity when their goods were destroyed like this, they did not dare to utter a word in front of Shengguan Rui. Why? Anyone wants to snatch with me? A cold glint flickered in Shengguan Rui's eyes as he glanced at the wealthy businessmen in the surroundings. However, everyone whose Shengguan Rui's eyes swept across lowered their heads successively, not daring to speak. In this monarch city, they and even sect disciples usually did not dare to casually offend people of Shengguan Rui's level. Ha ha ha, young Sir Shengguan, you call the shots in this city. Who would dare to snatch with you? That's right. Unless someone doesn't want his life anymore and dares to snatch these slaves with young Sir Shengguan. Many onlookers chimed in and laughed immediately. People in the black market were more or less clear of Shengguan Rui's style and no longer found it strange. Moreover, it was only a few slaves, and the onlookers had never seen them as humans in the first place. Please, young sir. Save us from here. I'm willing to be a slave for you. A girl hurriedly spoke. However, before the young man said anything, the slave master took large steps forward and said, "Brother, you aren't a citizen here, are you?" "So what if I'm not?" the young man said. "Ha!" The slave master shook his head and laughed. "Brother, it's better if you don't stand up for them. This young Sir Shengguan Rui's father is the Dragon Tiger General of 9 Knights Dynasty, what?" After hearing that, the young man was appalled, and he looked at the hideous Shengguan Rui in surprise. The Dragon Tiger General had the most influence in the 9 Knights Dynasty. He had many armies under him and was a trusted subordinate of the current premier, Qin Long. "Why? You want to snatch with me?" Shengguan Rui looked at the young man with interest. "Ah." After knowing of Shengguan Rui's identity, the young man broke out in a cold sweat, and he hurriedly said, "Young Sir Shengguan. This is a misunderstanding. If it was anyone else, the young man would not have bothered and still dared to contend. However, he was facing the son of the Dragon Tiger General, and there was no way would he dare to offend him. "Oh." Shengguan Rui looked at the young man with a teasing expression. "You don't wish to compete with me anymore?" "Young Sir Shengguan. This is a misunderstanding. I've never thought of snatching with you." The young man immediately made clear his stance, deeply afraid that Shengguan Rui would continue to misunderstand him. "Misunderstanding?" Shengguan Rui scoffed coldly. "How boring is that?" As he spoke, he looked at the guard beside him and said emotionlessly, "Where's the knife?" The guard immediately took out a gleaming dagger without saying anything and handed it to Shengguan Rui. Shengguan Rui received the dagger and walked towards that young man with a harmless smile. The young man was a little nervous at the sight. Swoosh! In the next second, the dagger in Shengguan Rui's hand was stuck into the man's stomach instantly. Argh! In just a moment, blood surged out and dyed the young man's white clothes crimson. The young man screamed in agony. His face turned white, and large beads of sweat dripped down from his forehead. It was as though the unbearable pain wanted to consume him entirely. That fellow was really reckless and actually dared to provoke young Sir Shengguan. TSK. An outsider did not know the situation and casually stood up for the slaves in the black market. He was really courting death. The onlookers scoffed coldly. In their eyes, Shengguan Rui's stab perfectly avoided the vital organs, making it seem like he only wanted to torture this young man. "Oh. I'm really sorry. I injured you by accident. This is a misunderstanding. You want mine, right?" A sinister expression emerged on Shengguan Rui's hideous face. Chapter 686, Yuan Returning Stone, 1. In just a moment, the young man's head was entirely chopped off by Shangguan Rui. How ugly! Shangguan Rui lifted the young man's head in the air and inspected it clearly as though he was admiring a piece of art. However, Shangguan Rui did not seem to be very satisfied with this artwork and tossed it on the ground disinterestedly. Then, he lifted his right leg and stepped on the young man's head. The young man's head was crushed by Shangguan Rui, and red and white liquids spattered everywhere. The onlookers exchanged a few looks when they saw it. Shangguan Rui was really ruthless. After witnessing Shangguan Rui's brutality, the girls in the cage shrieked. Clean it. After cleaning the dirt off his shoes, Shangguan Rui looked at the slave master. Yes, yes, yes. I'll clean it immediately. The slave master nodded repeatedly and ordered someone to clear the unbearable sight that was the young man's corpse. For outsiders like them, provoking the other party without knowing their identity was mostly courting death. Before long, the young man's corpse was cleared, and the remains on the ground were cleaned. Yi Qingtang had already walked to the wooden stage with the little white tiger. Her eyes darkened slightly as she watched the bloody scene. At that instant, the girls in the cages were filled with despair and trembled in fear. This one is not bad. I want it. Shangguan Rui regained interest and grinned at a girl with long, blue hair. Ha ha. Young Sir Shangguan, you really have a good eye. This girl is a supreme-grade slave. We caught her at the external frontiers of the sea outside Nine Nights Dynasty. Very quickly, the blue-haired girl was brought out from the cage by the slave master. Someone save me. Expressions of despair filled the blue-haired girl's face as she looked at the crowd helplessly. However, the place was silent, and people only looked at each other indifferently. No one would offend people like Shangguan Rui over a slave, and the young man from before was a lesson learned. There were many beauties in the world, and there was no need to risk their lives to fight for one. I have a Yuan returning stone. Whoever can save me, I will gift him the Yuan returning stone. I'm begging you all. Please. The girl knelt on the ground with tears streaming down her face. Yuan returning stone. The onlookers looked at each other. The Yuan returning stone was a rare stone that could refine weapons, but it was not a main material and could not increase a cultivator's skills. It was a type of energy stone that did not have many uses to a cultivator despite being extremely rare. Fuck. Yuan returning stone. The little white tiger suddenly peeked its head out of Yi Qingtang's arms and scanned the surroundings. Soul returning stone. Where's it? Where's it? Many people near Yi Qingtang looked at the little white tiger immediately. An orange-colored tiger cub appeared before everyone's eyes. Yi Qingtang shot a look at the little white tiger. She clearly told it not to come out for nothing. Spirit animal. Several cultivators were amazed as they looked at the little orange tiger in Yi Qingtang's arm. The supposed spirit animal was completely different from a demonic beast. Demonic beasts kill by nature and had a murderous air, while spirit animals were humane, and some could even speak the human language, though such cases were extremely rare. However, while spirit animals were rare, it was not to the extent that its appearance could shock one. In the Nine Nights Dynasty, the number of forces which possessed spirit animals was not a small number either. It was said that the Falling Sky Valley in the Nine Nights Dynasty had a big black dog that could speak, and it was also one of the few spirit animals that existed. Another example was the Ouyang family clan, the number 1 family clan in the Nine Nights Dynasty, which possessed a golden crow that could speak. Brother, is this little yellow dragon a spirit animal? Where did you get it from? Are you interested to make a deal? A rather skilled cultivator asked Yi Qingtang. I'm not selling, Yi Qingtang said. After hearing that cultivator saw that Yi Qingtang was foreign-looking and did not seem to be someone from a big force from the Nine Nights Dynasty. Little brother, Im Zhou Fu, a member of the Zhou family clan in the Nine Knights dynasty. Are you sure you're unwilling to make this deal with me? Yi Qingtang heard something about the Zhou family clan in her previous life as well. It was a second-tier force in the Nine Knights dynasty and was about the same as Xianling sect and Wind Moon sect in the formidable Heavens dynasty. Fuck you. What do you treat me as? Am I someone you can buy just because you want to? The little white tiger glared at Zhou Fu and shouted angrily. A trace of fury appeared on Zhou Fu's face when he heard the spirit animal scolding him. I'm talking to your owner. Was it ever your turn to speak? Yi Qingtang looked at Zhou Fu coldly. What my spirit animal said is what I want to say. What did you say? Zhou Fu's eyes flickered. Yi Qingtang looked away from Zhou Fu, ignoring his desires, and spoke to her little white tiger. You're interested in the Yuan returning stone? Yes. The Yuan returning stone contains the heaven and earth energy. It is useless to human cultivators, but it's extremely useful to me. The little white tiger nodded repeatedly as its big, round eyes were filled with longing. Since you have a request, I'll help you to obtain it. Yi Qingtang smiled faintly. Her eyes were icy as she swept a look at the arrogant Shangguan Rui discreetly. Then, Yi Qingtang walked towards the slave master in great strides. At that instant, Shangguan Rui looked at the blue-haired girl with interest. Truly a supreme grade. How nice-smelling. Shangguan Rui lifted the girl's blue hair to near his nose and reveled in its smell. Quick. Give me the knife. Faster. Shangguan Rui could not contain his excitement and said to that indifferent guard. Very quickly, the guard took a long knife out and handed it to Shangguan Rui. I'm begging you. Let me go. As though she felt death approaching her, fear was etched on the blue-haired girl's face when she saw Shangguan Rui walking towards her with a long knife in hand. The brutality and terror of Shangguan Rui skinning someone alive earlier on were still vivid in her mind. Ha! Shangguan Rui laughed. Don't fail to appreciate my favor. Being able to be hung in my beauty pavilion is an honor of your many lifetimes. After saying that, the long knife in his hands moved, about to stab into the blue-haired girl's body. I want this woman. At that moment, Yi Qingtang's indifferent voice echoed around the place. Everyone was stunned to hear that and looked around the crowd instinctively. A beautiful young man in white slowly walked out with a feather fan in his hand. Another person courting death? Tisk tsk. There are really quite a few people courting death today. When they saw that a beautiful young man wanted to snatch the blue-haired girl with Shangguan Rui, everyone laughed coldly as they waited for a good show. Zhou Fu scoffed. It seemed that he did not need to take any action anymore. Then, Shangguan Rui placed the long knife down and inspected Yi Qingtang with interest. A supreme yellow-grade weapon. A weapon that could weigh against dozens of ordinary yellow-grade weapon. Yi Qingtang also had quite a few weapons of similar grade in her space ring, which were all obtained from the hell of Avicenaraka mystic realm. There was no reluctance in throwing a few swords out. Young Sir Shangguan. How about? The slave master looked at Shangguan Rui and laughed. Ha, let her to him then, Shangguan Rui said. The slave master thanked him repeatedly and hurriedly kept all the weapons that Yi Qingtang threw on the ground. Brother, she is yours, the slave master said to Yi Qingtang. Yi Qingtang nodded and was about to leave with the blue-haired girl. However, right at that instant, Shangguan Rui suddenly blocked Yi Qingtang's way with a menacing smile on his face. Chapter 689. So what if I slap you? 1. Is there anything you need? Yi Qingtang glanced at Shangguan Rui indifferently. Ha! Shangguan Rui laughed coldly as he sized up Yi Qingtang with an evil intention. We have gone through the black market's rules. Shouldn't we talk about my rules next? Your rules. Yi Qingtang arched a brow slightly. Tell me about it. A trace of insanity flashed across Shangguan Rui's eyes, and he turned to look at his guard. "Where's the knife?" The guard walked up quickly and, once again, handed Shangguan Rui the dagger which was used to chop the young man's head. "My rules. Do you wish to know?" Shangguan Rui received the dagger and narrowed his eyes at Yi Qingtang. His scarlet and foul tongue licked his dry lips. In the next second, a ferocious expression appeared on his face as he stabbed towards Yi Qingtang's stomach with the dagger. In everyone's eyes, this sight was, however, extremely normal. Everyone had already expected this outcome. An outsider who offended Shangguan Rui was destined to have such an outcome. Pow! A clear sound suddenly rang. That beautiful young man who held a folding fan actually held Shangguan Rui's left hand that held the dagger was in, with the sharp tip of the dagger stopping just half a finger away from the beautiful young man's stomach. The onlookers in the surrounding gasped at Yi Qingtang's actions. This fellow actually dared to retaliate. An outsider actually countered young Sir Shangguan. Is he not afraid that his entire family would have to suffer the wrath of young Sir Shangguan? Humph. What an ignorant fool. He would have been the only one who would die, but now that he countered, he has brought death to his entire clan. The young man from earlier was much more powerful than Shangguan Rui, but he still did not dare to fight back until death, in fear that he would implicate his family. Shangguan Rui's father was the Dragon Tiger General and the Premier Qin Long's trusted subordinate. Anyone who offended Shangguan Rui would face a terrifying outcome, and this was something that everyone in the monarch city knew. Many years ago, someone could not see eye to eye with Shangguan Rui's brutality and fought back, but in the end, not only was that person put to death by dismembering the body, but his entire clan was also annihilated because of this. Shangguan Rui did not think that Yi Qingtang would dare to retaliate as well and was taken aback. When he returned to his senses, he looked up slowly and stared right at the emotionless Yi Qingtang. Shangguan Rui's lips curled up slightly, and a berserk smile suddenly appeared on his hideous face. Good. Really good. This is so interesting. Ha ha ha. I want your clan to be completely annihilated. Completely annihilated. That savage laugh reverberated throughout the black market, and many onlookers shook their heads secretly. This beautiful young man might have implicated his entire clan already. Oh. Yi Qingtang looked at the enraged Shangguan Rui indifferently without panicking. Without waiting for Shangguan Rui to speak, she suddenly raised her right palm. In the next second, Yi Qingtang's right palm waved and flashed by before everyone's eyes like a bolt of lightning. Pow! A clear sound echoed in the scene. Silence, a deadly silence, everyone was completely dumbstruck, and their jaws hung wide open after this clear sound rang. Yi Qingtang's right hand had actually slapped Shangguan Rui's ugly face. Was this beautiful young man crazy? He actually slapped Shangguan Rui. Still complete annihilation. A faint smile slowly appeared on Yi Qingtang's handsome face as she watched the dumbfounded Shangguan Rui. You. Shangguan Rui was slightly stunned, but the stinging pain on his cheeks reminded him of everything that happened a while ago. When he returned to his senses, he glared at Yi Qingtang furiously. Son of a bitch. How dare you hit me? I want you to die without a place to be buried. I want to chop off your head and dig out your eyes. Oh. Yi Qingtang looked at the enraged Shangguan Rui with interest. Without waiting for Shangguan Rui to continue cursing at her, Yi Qingtang suddenly raised her hand again. Pow! Before everyone's eyes, Yi Qingtang slapped Shangguan Rui's cheeks heavily once again. Within seconds, a few handprints emerged on Shangguan Rui's face. Never had Shangguan Rui dreamed that he would suffer 2 consecutive slaps. He glared at Yi Qingtang with bloodshot eyes before shouting sternly to the indifferent guard behind him. Kill. Kill him. Kill this son of a bitch. Noted. The indifferent guard nodded. In the next second, a martial chi level 3 first heaven aura emerged around the guard and completely enshrouded Yi Qingtang. Everyone was taken aback after sensing the indifferent guard's aura. Martial chi level 3, first heaven. This person's skills are actually so scary. He has already surpassed the elite disciples of super sects. This person is Shangguan Rui's martial teacher and is also his personal bodyguard. He is one of the Dragon Tiger General's trusted subordinates. That foreigner fellow will definitely die without a doubt. Everyone was extremely shocked after sensing the indifferent guard's martial chi level 3 first heaven aura. Die! With a shout, a powerful martial aura immediately erupted out from that guard like a jet, and his palm rammed towards Yi Qingtang. However, when his palm was less than 3 inches away from Yi Qingtang, the little white tiger in Yi Qingtang's arm suddenly spouted out a trail of white flame. What? Sensing the force of destruction in this flame, the indifferent guard was alarmed. It was already too late for him to dodge. Arr! The indifferent guard let out a miserable cry as he burned into ashes after being hit by the white flame. Fuck you! You must be seeking death. How dare you think of attacking me? The little white tiger said furiously. Yi Qingtang looked blankly at the little white tiger. He wanted to attack me just now. Yi Qingtang reminded the little white tiger. Oh. Fuck. He didn't say it earlier. Whatever though. I said that I would be responsible for you. I will protect you. The little white tiger grinned at Yi Qingtang. After absorbing large amounts of evil aura in the hell of Avicenaraka mystic realm, the little white tiger's infant body currently had the combat power of a human at the second heaven of martial chi level 3, and it could easily kill a mere martial chi level 3 first heaven cultivator. Such a powerful spirit animal. It killed a martial chi level 3 first heaven in an instant. I was thinking why that fellow was so fearless. So it's because he has such a powerful spirit animal as his backing. The ignorant are fearless. He dares to act like this just by relying on one spirit animal. The Dragon Tiger General should have already received news of this. Well, just watch how he dies later. In the crowd, Zhou Fu's eyes twinkled as he stared at the little white tiger in Yi Qingtang's arms. If he could obtain that spirit animal. Chapter 691, So what if I slap you? 3. Then, Zhou Fu immediately sent his people back to the Zhou family clan to bring the high-ranking powerful figures and a beast-tamer master who was staying in the Zhou family clan temporarily. Son of a bitch, Shangguan Rui glared at Yi Qingtang in fury. You'll die without a doubt. Everyone in your clan will be completely annihilated because of your ignorance. Kneel down. Yi Qingtang ordered coldly as she looked at Shangguan Rui. What? What did you say? Shangguan Rui could not believe what he heard. I want you to kneel down. Yi Qingtang repeated. Not mentioning Shangguan Rui, everyone in the surroundings gasped upon hearing what Yi Qingtang said. This beautiful young man actually wants Shangguan Rui to kneel to her. Does she even know who Shangguan Rui's father is? Is she tired of living? You're courting death. Shangguan Rui shouted angrily. Yi Qingtang frowned slightly and kicked a leg out. Cluck. The sound of crushed bones rang. Yi Qingtang's kick completely crushed the bones in Shangguan Rui's knees. The moment his bones crushed, Shangguan Rui kneeled beside Yi Qingtang's legs weakly. The pain caused him to break out in a cold sweat profusely, and his face whitened. Were you threatening me just now? The mischievous expression on her face deepened as she watched Shangguan Rui. Shangguan Rui wanted to kill her earlier on, and from then, Yi Qingtang never planned to let him off alive. At this instant, Yi Qingtang looked straight ahead of her from the corner of her eyes. A middle-aged man riding on a horse was rushing towards them at top speed with thousands of military cultivators behind him. Look! It's the Dragon Tiger General. Shouts erupted in the crowd. Everyone looked ahead immediately. Indeed, the person on the warhorse was Shengguan Rui's father, Dragon Tiger General Shengguan Zhe. Father! Father! Upon noticing his father, Shengguan Rui ignored the pain in his legs and crawled forward with his hands on the ground. Rui! The Dragon Tiger General was shocked to see Shengguan Rui crawling towards him and immediately leaped down his horse. Fury and resentment riled in him when he saw how miserable his precious son was with his broken legs. However, before the Dragon Tiger General could get any closer, Shengguan Rui was lifted back by Yi Qingtang by the neck. How dare you! The Dragon Tiger General glared at her furiously. Let my son go, and I'll leave your corpse in one piece. Kill! 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 As the Dragon Tiger General spoke, the thousands of military cultivators behind him shouted repeatedly. Leave my corpse in one piece. Yi Qingtang's lips curled into a sinister smile. General, are you not clear of the situation? Shengguan Rui was in her hands right now, and his life and death were all up to Yi Qingtang. Yet, this Dragon Tiger General still dared to say things like leaving her corpse in one piece at this timing. What a joke! Is this fellow crazy? How dare he say such a thing to the Dragon Tiger General? Is he relying on just that above-average spirit animal of his to fight against the Dragon Tiger General? There was a flurry of discussion in the crowd. Father, quickly! Kill this little bastard. Must slaughter his entire clan and completely annihilate his clan. Shengguan Rui shouted loudly. Rui, don't be anxious. The Dragon Tiger General frowned deeply and looked at Yi Qingtang. What do you wish to do? Chapter 692, So what if I slap you, for, I don't wish to do anything. Yi Qingtang scoffed coldly. Your son snatched my slave in public and wanted to kill me. How should we settle this score? As Shengguan Rui's father, the Dragon Tiger General was naturally aware of his son's style. But so what? Apart from those core disciples of super sects and the premier who could not be offended, who else could not be killed or beaten casually? Fellow, release my son first, the Dragon Tiger General said coldly. Release him. Yi Qingtang laughed. It's not impossible. However, you need to give me 100,000 spirit stones as compensation. To Yi Qingtang, it had nothing to do with her how surly or brutal Shengguan Rui was. In the past 300 years in her life, she had met too many of such people and incidents. She already could not be bothered with such people, but the pretext was that the person must not offend her. Yi Qingtang auctioned according to the black market rules, yet Shengguan Rui actually wanted to kill her. Now that the Dragon Tiger General ordered Yi Qingtang to release Shengguan Rui, it was not impossible. As long as she was given appropriate compensation, she might make some considerations. What did you say? The Dragon Tiger General Shengguan Zhe glared angrily. Even if it was 100,000 inferior-grade spirit stones, it was not an amount that he could fork out. Why? Find it too many? Yi Qingtang scoffed coldly. Your bastard son ignored the rules of the black market. He could not win by wealth and wanted to kill me for no reason. It is reasonable for me to ask 100,000 spirit stones from you. Everyone at the scene exchanged a look. This outsider was too bold. It was already a death crime for him to beat Shengguan Rui up like that, and now he still dared to threaten the Dragon Tiger General. Even if his spirit animal was extremely powerful, it would not be able to defeat thousands of Dragon Tiger warriors. Fellow. Do you know exactly what you're doing and saying? The Dragon Tiger General's eyes were cold. There was actually someone in this monarch city who dared to hit his son and threaten him. Father, you must kill this son of a bitch and dismember him. Find out his family clan and kill all of them. Shengguan Rui's eyes were filled with insanity. Pow! Yi Qingtang swung a palm out and slapped Shengguan Rui heavily. Blood seeped out from the corners of his lips as he glared at Yi Qingtang menacingly. This son of a bitch. You will have an extremely tragic death. All your loved ones, friends. Everyone will die because of your ignorance. A cold gleam flickered in Yi Qingtang's eyes. Initially, if that dragon tiger general was willing to compensate, Yi Qingtang could still consider sparing this person's life. But currently, it seemed that there was no such need anymore. Release my son Shengguan Rui immediately. Otherwise, you're not the only one who will suffer. When the dragon tiger general saw Yi Qingtang hitting his son, he clenched his fists tightly, wishing he could tear Yi Qingtang into pieces. Ha! Yi Qingtang's lips curled up slightly into a sinister smile. Since that's the case, there's nothing to discuss between us already. After that, Yi Qingtang clutched Shengguan Rui's neck. In the next second, all everyone saw was that Shengguan Rui was held in the air by Yi Qingtang. Shengguan Rui could not breathe properly in Yi Qingtang's grip. His limbs swung wildly, and his eyes slowly became bloodshot. However, no matter what, he was unable to escape from Yi Qingtang's grip. Son of a bitch. The dragon tiger general's expression changed immediately. Little bastard, if you dare to touch my son, I will definitely slaughter your entire clan. Really? The corner of Yi Qingtang's lips curled up, and she slowly placed Shengguan Rui on the ground. Only then did the dragon tiger general's expression turn a little better. Son of a bitch. You're afraid now? Once Shengguan Rui landed on the ground, he pointed at Yi Qingtang and sneered. This outsider bastard. However, before Shengguan Rui finished his sentence, Yi Qingtang had already unsheathed the demonic blood sword. Swoosh! The demonic blood sword waved, and a blood-colored sword shadow flashed by. The crowd was astounded and in disbelief as they watched the smile on Shengguan Rui's face freeze completely. A large skull was separated from the body and flew into the sky. At his very last moment of consciousness, Shengguan Rui's head was in the air as he was horrified to see his headless body that was spouting blood at the neck area. Swoosh! Yi Qingtang waved the demonic blood sword once again. With a boom, Shengguan Rui's skull was slashed into pieces by the sword shadow. Everyone at the scene was dead silent. No one could think that an outsider actually had the guts to chop off Shengguan Rui's head. And it was even done right in front of Shengguan Rui's father, the dragon tiger general. My son. At that instant, the dragon tiger general felt his heart rip apart. Grief etched on his face. Dirted my sword. Yi Qingtang sneered and flicked her wrist, flicking all the blood off the demonic blood sword. Shengguan Rui's headless body staggered for a few steps aimlessly and crashed on the ground. Ah, the blue-haired girl beside Yi Qingtang turned pale instantly. The slave master's face was ghastly white. Did this fellow really not want his life anymore? Did he know what he did? I want your clan to be annihilated completely. The dragon tiger general hollered in fury. In the next second, thousands of military cultivators cornered Yi Qingtang. Fuck you all. Bullying us when you all outnumber us? Upon noticing the situation, the little white tiger scoffed coldly and spouted a white flame at the 1,000 cultivators cornering them. In the hell of Avicenaraka mystic realm, the energy stored in the little white tiger's body was not yet depleted. As the white flame was spouted out, dozens of cultivators closest to the little white tiger immediately turned into ashes after coming into contact with the white flame. What? The remaining military cultivators were alarmed as they looked at that white flame from the little white tiger, and they retreated backward instinctively. Be careful of that spirit animal. A general shouted with a deep frown. The white flame from that spirit animal's mouth was extremely frightening and contained a force of destruction which normal cultivators could not bear at all. As long as one was stained with a trace, he would turn into ashes. Spirit animal. The dragon tiger general stared at the little white tiger that had been dyed into orange and clenched his teeth. Fuck you all. See whether it'll burn you all to death or not. The little white tiger declared with its chin high up, acting as though he was just second in rank to the heavens. Before everyone returned to their senses, a white flame burst out from the little white tiger's mouth once again. In an instant, another 10 or so people were burnt into nothingness by the white flame. Everyone trembled at the sight and could only retreat even further away in fear of coming into contact with the white flame. This son of a bitch. The Dragon Tiger General looked at Yi Qingtang with darkened eyes. Did he really think that he could escape his death by relying on the protection of a spirit animal? Chapter 694, Half-Step Yin-Yang Perfected Lord, 1. Right at that instant, dozens of family clan cultivators arrived at the black market. Zhou Fu's eyes shone, and he immediately welcomed the people. Family master, it is that spirit animal. Zhou Fu walked to an elderly's side and pointed at the little white tiger in Yi Qingtang's arms. The elderly nodded. He happened to see the little white tiger's imposing manner earlier on as well. Master Li. The clan master of the Zhou family clan looked at a teenager in purple clothes. The teenager in purple clothes was a beast tamer at a master level and had some relations with the Zhou family. It was a coincidence that he had been staying in the Zhou residence as a guest for these past few days. A beast tamer master was extremely rare even in super sects and could control both demonic beasts or spirit animals. General, this person committed a serious crime but is protected by a spirit animal. How about we combine forces and eliminate him? Clan Master Zhou walked to the Dragon Tiger General and suggested with a smile. The Dragon Tiger General said, sure. There is a beast tamer master in your Zhou family clan. You all can just control that bastard animal. The Dragon Tiger General's words were aligned with Clan Master Zhou's thoughts. They only wanted to obtain that spirit animal and did not wish to care about anything else. Master Li, you. Clan Master Zhou looked at the teenager in purple clothes and spoke slowly. The teenager in purple clothes nodded slightly. When his eyes landed on the little white tiger, he laughed coldly. That spirit animal is indeed extraordinary. The white flame that it spat out just now has a very powerful force of destruction. However. Master Li, however what? Clan Master Zhou asked anxiously. However, I can't tell what breed that spirit animal is. Master Li replied thoughtfully. Clan Master Zhou probed. Are you able to subdue that spirit animal? Master Li smiled faintly. There's no problem. For this type of spirit animal, it is not difficult to control a more grown form, much less an infant form. The crowd was suddenly in an uproar when they saw that the Zhou family clan brought the beast tamer master here. That foreigner fellow thought he could keep his life by relying on a spirit animal. What a joke. Ha! The Zhou family clan has a beast tamer master here right now. It seems that the Zhou family clan heard the news and took a fancy on that fellow's spirit animal. They even invited the beast tamer master to help them. No matter how powerful that spirit animal is, it will end up in the Zhou family clan's hands this time. He is, after all, an outsider and does not know the danger of 9 Knights Dynasty's monarch city. He is still too young and arrogant. He was not well behaved and dared to kill Shengguan Rui. The demonic force in the little white tiger's body was immediately drawn away by the spirit restriction spell. Without the support of the energy, the little white tiger naturally could not spout the white flame anymore. What the fuck? This human clan's beast tamer master does have some skills. Quick, help me kill him. The little white tiger stared at itself in wide eyes. Bound by the spirit restriction spell, its body floated up and uncontrollably flew into the hands of the Zhou family clan in just a few breaths. Ha ha ha. Good. Very good. Clan Master Zhou beamed as he grabbed the little white tiger. Fuck you. The little white tiger swore as it glared at the elderly. If the energy in its body was stronger in the outside world, a mere spirit restriction spell would simply be unable to draw its energy away. The demonic force in the hell of Avicenaraka mystic realm was in higher quantities and could not be compared to the pure positive energy in the outside world. Thus, the beast tamer master could succeed easily. Break this bastard's arms and legs. The dragon tiger general shouted furiously when he saw that Yi Qingtang was no longer protected by the spirit animal. In the next second, thousands of military cultivators charged towards Yi Qingtang. You have a death wish. Seeing that the dozens of people in the lead were charging at her with spears, Yi Qingtang's eyes flickered. In an instant, the aura of a half-step yin-yang perfected lord filled the air. Puff! 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 With just the emergence of the aura of a half-step yin-yang perfected lord, the dozens of military cultivators who charged towards Yi Qingtang paled and immediately spouted large amounts of blood. The dozens of people were strewn into the air and flung hundreds of meters away by the half-step yin-yang perfected lord aura. Swoosh! Without giving anyone time to react, the demonic blood sword slashed across. The frightening blood-colored sword gleam swept the surroundings, seizing the lives of near 100 of cultivators with just one strike. Everyone in the black market was completely stupefied by the sight. Impossible, lie. This must be a lie. Oh my god. It's actually, the peak of martial chi level 3 third heaven. No. No. This aura. Half-step. Yin-yang perfected lord. Half-step yin-yang perfected lord. Everyone gasped as they looked at the beautiful young man who was holding a folding fan. What kind of concept was a half-step yin-yang perfected lord? After sensing Yi Qingtang's half-step yin-yang perfected lord martial aura, the remaining military cultivators were aghast and in disbelief as they trembled in fear. In their troop, a cultivator with the skills of a martial chi level 3 first heaven was already considered a super powerful figure. Half-step yin-yang perfected lord. In their entire life, they had never seen a half-step yin-yang perfected lord before. Yi Qingtang's eyes flickered as she walked forward slowly. All that everyone saw was that the beautiful young man single-handedly forced thousands of military cultivators to retreat continuously. Swoosh! Yi Qingtang turned into a shadow immediately and disappeared from where she was. When Yi Qingtang appeared once again, she was beside Clan Master Zhou. You are really bold. Yi Qingtang scoffed coldly behind Clan Master Zhou. After sensing Yi Qingtang's half-step yin-yang perfected lord martial aura, Clan Master Zhou was drenched in cold sweat. The most powerful person in their Zhou family clan had only entered the martial chi level 3 second heaven not long ago, and a half-step yin-yang perfected lord was simply unimaginable. Have mercy, senior. I failed to recognize a formidable person that is you. Spare my life, senior. Clan Master Zhou fell on his knees before the half-step yin-yang perfected lord. If he knew that this young man was a half-step yin-yang perfected lord, he would not dare to offend him no matter how bold he was. Swoosh! Without giving Clan Master Zhou a chance to explain himself, Yi Qingtang shot her palm out and killed him with the impact. Ah! Retreating backward, the numerous high-ranking executives were filled with fear and horror as they looked at Yi Qingtang. Fuck you all. Retribution is here, isn't it? The little white tiger strutted back into Yi Qingtang's arms. And you. In the next second, Yi Qingtang headed for that beast tamer master. She had never offended the Zhou family clan and this beast tamer master, yet they wanted to steal her fiend celestial beast. Since that was the case, how could Yi Qingtang let them off? Noticing the situation, the beast tamer master frowned deeply. He had no means of defense against a half-step yin-yang perfected lord. Helpless, the beast tamer master tore a talisman, and his entire body was forced underground, vanishing completely. You run fast. When Yi Qingtang saw that the beast tamer master escaped, she did not plan to chase after him. Very quickly, Yi Qingtang's eyes landed on Zhou Fu. Without needing to think, it must be this Zhou Fu who notified the Zhou family clan for them to come over to snatch the little white tiger when he failed to buy it. Senior. I was blind. Zhou Fu kneeled before Yi Qingtang with a thud. Swoosh. Yi Qingtang slashed her sword without a word, cutting Zhou Fu, who was desperately pleading for mercy, into pieces. Yi Qingtang was never a compassionate person, especially after her rebirth. If anyone harbored evil designs against her, Yi Qingtang would pay them back with double the cruelty. The remaining high-ranking executives of the Zhou family clan were filled with horror. A half-step Yin-Yang perfected lord was not someone they could fight against. Almost instantly, more than 10 of them scattered in all directions and fled out of the black market at their fastest speed ever. Yi Qingtang glanced at them and did not stop them. Swoosh. Yi Qingtang appeared in front of the stunned Dragon Tiger General in a flash. You said that you want to annihilate my clan earlier on? Yi Qingtang laughed coldly as she looked at the Dragon Tiger General, who was just inches away from her. The thousands of military cultivators saw the beautiful young man in front of their general, but no one dared to walk up. The onlookers in the surrounding looked at Yi Qingtang in shock. Who would have thought that a dignified half-step Yin-Yang perfected lord would also take a stroll in this kind of black market? Furthermore, this half-step Yin-Yang perfected lord was a little too young, and no one would have drawn a connection between him and a half-step Yin-Yang perfected lord. No wonder. No wonder he did not even care about Shengguan Rui. That Shengguan Rui's luck is extremely bad. He actually met a half-step Yin-Yang perfected lord and even wanted to attack him. Wasn't he seeking death? This senior followed the black market's rules and determined the winner using wealth. But Shengguan Rui landed himself in this plight this time, everyone discussed actively as they watched Yi Qingtang. At this instant, the Dragon Tiger General gritted his teeth in silence, unsure of what to see. How would he have thought that this young man would actually be a half-step Yin-Yang perfected lord? You wanted to annihilate my clan. Yi Qingtang asked the Dragon Tiger General coldly again. This is a misunderstanding. Helpless, the Dragon Tiger General could only reply that way. Kneel down. Yi Qingtang ordered coldly. What did you say? The Dragon Tiger General clenched his fists tightly. This person killed his son right before him and still wanted him to kneel down now. I want you to kneel down. There was a hint of fury in Yi Qingtang's tone. Chapter 697, Half-Step Yin-Yang Perfected Lord, 4, You. The Dragon Tiger General glared at Yi Qingtang with wide eyes, wishing he could skin her alive. Why? Unwilling. Yi Qingtang narrowed her eyes as a cold glint flashed across her eyes suddenly. The Dragon Tiger General did not even have time to react or find out what happened, but he felt an extremely overbearing impact on his face. In the next second, Yi Qingtang's fist crashed on the Dragon Tiger General's face forcefully. With just a punch, the Dragon Tiger General was instantly flung out. His huge body flew for several meters before finally falling on the ground heavily. When he raised his head up, his nose was already completely broken, and blood gushed out of his wounds. The excruciating pain caused the Dragon Tiger General, who had been in hundreds of battles, to break out in cold sweat. However, before he could crawl up, a ghost-like figure appeared near him once again. Yi Qingtang suddenly struck her foot out, kicking the Dragon Tiger General into the air. He was knocked onto the roof of the black market and crashed down on the ground loudly. He felt as though a giant boulder rolled over his entire body. The people in the surrounding area were shaken by the sight. The Dragon Tiger General relied on his position and authority and the fact that he was a trusted subordinate of the Premier Qin Long, to act rashly and domineeringly, and even allowed his son to commit murders and many other crimes in the monarch city. Many were infuriated but did not dare to speak up. However, the tyrannical dragon tiger general was beaten up like a dog in public. This really vented the anger of those who had once been bullied. No matter how high the dragon tiger general's position was, his skills were nowhere close to this half-step yin-yang perfected lord young man. He finally had it for him today. The dragon tiger general was in so much pain that he saw stars. He held himself up with difficulty. He wanted to stand up but suddenly saw the figure that was walking towards him. If you don't kneel, I'll beat you up until you kneel. Yi Qingtang looked down coldly at the dragon tiger general who had yet to crawl up as her lips curled into a nightmarish angle. The dragon tiger general felt that his head was going to explode when he saw Yi Qingtang's sinister smile. He had a feeling that this young man definitely meant what he said. At the thought of his opponent's horrifying aura, the dragon tiger general's heart trembled. Just as Yi Qingtang was about to walk to his side, the dragon tiger general directly kneeled before Yi Qingtang. I'll kneel. I'll kneel. The dragon tiger general was drenched in cold sweat. No matter how thick his flesh wash, how could it withstand the beating of a half-step yin-yang perfected lord? If he was beaten up another 2 times, his life would probably end here. At this instant, the dragon tiger general could no longer care about his face. Protecting his life was more important. There were no emotions in Yi Qingtang's eyes as she looked at the dragon tiger general, who knelt before her in public. She suddenly said, "Look up." The dragon tiger general was shaken, but he could only follow Yi Qingtang's words and look at Yi Qingtang's face. "I came here for a stroll today, but my mood was spoiled by you all. What should I do about this matter?" Yi Qingtang said in a cold tone. Chapter 698, Half-Step Yin-Yang Perfected Lord, 5. The dragon tiger general was naturally not a fool to be able to attain this position under Qin Long. He hurriedly said, "We did not know our manners and spoiled your mood. It is right for us to compensate for our fault." "Oh. How do you intend on compensating?" Yi Qingtang said without emotion. In reality, it was very easy to kill the dragon tiger general with her skills. However, she had just come to 9 Knights Dynasty and did not plan on stirring up so much trouble. Killing Shangguan Rui was at most a personal grudge, but the dragon tiger general was a minister in the 9 Knights Dynasty. If she killed him with everyone watching, she would be in quite a lot of trouble. Luckily, using his life to exchange for some items was pretty good too. "It's all up to you," the dragon tiger general said. Yi Qingtang flashed a faint smile and said, "I heard that the exquisite jade in your family clan is not bad." The dragon tiger general trembled. The exquisite jade was an item handed down by the ancestors of his family clan and was extremely effective in nourishing the spirit root. Yi Qingtang knew about this exquisite jade from Ouyang Qian in her previous life. "Why?" "Unwilling." Yi Qingtang raised a brow slightly and placed the demonic blood sword against the dragon tiger general's neck immediately. With the cold blade placed against his skin, the dragon tiger general paled in shock and did not dare to bargain. No matter how precious a family heirloom was, his own life was more important. Willing, the dragon tiger general hurriedly removed the exquisite jade that he brought. Yi Qingtang's lips curled into a smile as she looked at the exquisite jade in her hands. "Get lost," Yi Qingtang said coldly and kicked the dragon tiger general away. The dragon tiger general stood up and fled in a flurry, not daring to remain there a second longer. The onlookers clucked their tongues in wonder. If they did not witness it personally, who would have thought that the dragon tiger general, who threw his weight around in the monarch city, would actually end up in this plight today? Not only was his son killed right before his eyes, he still had to personally hand his family heirloom to the murderer. Everyone was filled with reverence towards that beautiful young Min, who stood there with an outstanding manner. The blue-haired girl was stupefied as she looked at the young man. Never would she have thought that the person who saved her would actually be such a powerful person. "Why are you still spacing out over there? Follow me." Yi Qingtang turned to look at the blue-haired girl who was in a daze. The girl returned to her senses and followed behind Yi Qingtang immediately. She had a feeling that the calamity was over, and she felt she had a new lease of life. "Ah, where's your Yuan returning stone?" The little white tiger spoke to the blue-haired girl. The blue-haired girl hurriedly took out a Yuan returning stone that was about the size of half a palm. After receiving it, Yi Qingtang took a look at the little white tiger, whose face was brimming with satisfaction, and found it a little funny. "I still have something on. Wear this first." Yi Qingtang took out a shirt from her space ring and tossed it to the shabbily dressed young girl. Thank you, benefactor," the blue-haired girl hurriedly wore it. Yi Qingtang did not say anything further. After this drama, she had taken up quite some time and had no mind to care about anything else as she walked straight to her destination. The blue-haired girl did not dare to utter a word and obediently followed behind Yi Qingtang. Chapter 699, Bliss Forging Workshop. 1. Yi Qingtang arrived at a less crowded place in the black market after walking through the bustling streets. This area was full of forging workshops that sold weapons. Among the forging workshops, there was a simple-looking stall that stood out. There was an old plaque hanging on top of the forging workshop. The word, Bliss, was engraved on it. Though it was the least eye-catching workshop on the street, there was a crowd of people outside the door. These people were dressed in expensive clothes and did not seem to be normal citizens. "Du Sheng, please. Just sell me one sword." In the small stall, a man who was well-dressed was chatting with a young man around 16 or 17. The young man was handsome but dressed in normal clothes. However, the man who was asking for a sword was still begging him constantly. "Sorry, but master said that he is not in a good mood today, and he does not want to sell any sword," the young man Du Sheng said and sighed. "Please. I have prepared all the things that the master will like. Just help me to convince him and ask him to sell one sword to me. Any sword will do." Yes. Just give me any random sword at any price. Please, just sell one to us. A half-completed product will do as well." A group of well-dressed men were begging Du Sheng. The stall was completely different from other forging workshops. Du Sheng could only shake his head under so many requests. "Please go back, everyone. We will not sell any sword today." The workers from other forging workshops all wished to pull those clients to their stalls when the Bliss Forging Workshop chased away their businesses. Yi Qingtang was used to the scene. Though the Bliss Forging Workshop was small, it had the most business. It was harder than anything to purchase a sword from the Bliss Forging Workshop. It all depended on the shop owner's mood to sell a sword, no matter what the buyer's identity was or how much he was willing to pay. Yi Qingtang had come to the place many times with her senior brother in her previous life under the name of their master. However, no matter how much effort they spent, the shop owner still did not agree to forge a weapon for her master. Eventually, her master had to come to this place personally and convinced the owner after a few days with a great price paid. The owner of the Bliss Forging Workshop was different from others. As the rumors said, he was a famous blacksmith on the past. All weapons that he forged were divine weapons. However, the person had a weird temper and chose to hide in the black market of the Nine Knights Dynasty. He rarely met with people. In her previous life, the method of forging weapons with spirit crystals was created by him after a few years. The group of people did not manage to purchase any swords even though they spent much effort in trying to convince the workers. They could only stare at the few weapons left hanging in the stall. Yi Qingtang walked into the small forging workshop. Her gaze did not change when she saw the poor decorations of the stall. Her sight passed the weapons and landed on Du Sheng, who was cleaning a sword. "Hi, I would like to see Master Du," Yi Qingtang said straight away. Du Sheng lifted his head and was slightly stunned when he saw the pretty young man in front of him. The other customers in the stall all turned around to see the origin of the voice. Chapter 700, Bliss Forging Workshop, 2. Who is this? Is he insane? He wants to meet Master Du. He doesn't seem to belong to the Monarch City. He does not know the rules. He wants to meet Master Du. What a joke. The group of people stared at Yi Qingtang in sarcasm and found his request amusing. Master Du was the owner of the Bliss Forging Workshop and the only blacksmith here. He was so renowned that even the royal members of the Nine Knights dynasty needed to pay respect to him. It was extremely difficult for normal people to even purchase a half-completed weapons forged by Master Du, not mentioning about meeting him. Du Sheng was stunned as he did not expect that the pretty young man would have such a request. Sorry, Master does not meet any guest. Hey, do you know the rules? Master Du is not someone you can just meet if you want. Who do you think you are? The customers at the side mocked. Yi Qingtang did not bother with the sarcasm and took out the dagger that she forged by her waist and handed it to Du Sheng. Please give this dagger to Master Du. I'll wait to see whether he is willing to meet me after seeing this dagger. The customers all stretched out their heads to take a look at the dagger. She took it out. However, they only saw a black dagger with nothing special. What's wrong with him? Master Du would be willing to meet him based on a poor dagger. Is he brain damaged? However, Du Sheng's eyes sparkled when he saw the dagger in Yi Qingtang's hand. He was an orphan that Master Du adopted. He learned the forging skills from Master Du all along, and his observation skills were different from those of others. Du Sheng could see that the dagger in Yi Qingtang's hand was definitely not mediocre with just one look. However, he could not tell what was used to forge the dagger. Wait a while. Du Sheng suddenly changed his words. He took over the dagger and walked towards the inner room of the forging workshop. The group of people who were prepared to witness the joke were shocked after Du Sheng took the dagger and rushed away. What is going on? Within a short while, Du Sheng came back with a white-haired elder who seemed to be above 50 years old. The people in the forging workshop were all astonished when they saw the elder behind Du Sheng. Master! Master Du! Master Du came out. What is going on? The group of people were confused and looked at Yi Qingtang in surprise. What is special about that dagger? How could the dagger invite Master Du out? Yi Qingtang was calm. She had forged the dagger personally with a spirit crystal. Any skilled blacksmith would be able to see that the dagger was special. The method of forging weapons with spirit crystals was created by Master Du in her previous life. In this life, Master Du had yet acquired the method. Chapter 701, Bliss Forging Workshop, 3. At the moment, a well-dressed young man suddenly stepped forward and walked in front towards Master Du. Master Du, I'm Chu Yi from the Tiangang sect. Today, I'm here to meet you in the name of my master. The young man explained slowly. Master Du's sight then landed on Chu Yi. The rest in the forging workshop looked at Chu Yi in awe when they heard that he was a Tiangang sect disciple. Tiangang sect was a super sect of the Nine Knights dynasty. Its ability could be compared to that of the Falling Sky Valley. People who were able to enter the Tiangang sect were extremely talented. My master has sent a letter previously. May I know whether Master Du has received that? Chu Yi smiled and asked. Master Du nodded his head slightly. Seeing the Tiangang sect disciple Chu Yi, others interpreted Master Du's response differently. Previously, they thought that Master Du was invited out by the dagger of the unknown young man. Now, it seemed that they were thinking too much. When Du Sheng was introducing Yi Qingtang to Master Du, his voice was soft. Thus, no one else heard that besides the two of them. Now, as they saw Tiangang sect disciple Chu Yi go forward, they all credited Chu Yi for inviting Master Du out. Chu Yi also thought that way. It's my pleasure to be able to meet Master Du today. My master wants you to help him to forge a sword. My master said that as long as you are willing to do so, he will offer a few 100 kilograms of black gold meteoric iron, Chu-yi said respectfully. The moment Chu-yi finished his words, gasps sounded throughout the forging workshop. How precious was black gold meteoric iron? It was almost impossible to find any weapon forged using black gold meteoric iron in normal forging workshops. A few kilograms of black gold meteoric iron could not be calculated by money. Only a super sect like the Tiangang sect would be able to offer a few kilograms of black gold meteoric iron at one shot. Everyone's eyes were filled with joy. How lucky they would be if they could get a weapon forged using black gold meteoric iron. No wonder Master Du came out personally. The price that the Tiangang sect offered was too tempting. Black gold meteoric iron? Master Du's face was expressionless. Yes. Chu-yi nodded. I'm not short of black gold meteoric iron, and am not interested in forging any weapon for your master. If you do not have other things, please leave. Master Du waved his hand impatiently. His words shocked Chu-yi and everyone else. Master Du, what do you mean? Did you not agree to forge a weapon for my master? Chu-yi panicked as he did not imagine that he would receive such an answer. When did I agree to that? Master Du frowned. You received my master's letter, and the letter also explains my master's intention. Did you not agree to my master's request since you came out personally today? Chu-yi said. Chu-yi was stunned. The letter clearly explained his master's request and said that he would be here at this time. He thought that Master Du must have agreed since he came out personally. However, he did not expect Master Du to reject his request. Master Du frowned and took a glimpse at Chu-yi. How does coming out here have anything to do with your master? Who said that I walked out because of your master? Though both were black, Yi Qingtang's dagger seemed to be mixed with impurities and did not have the gleam like the one on Chu-yi's sword. The black gold meteoric iron was rare, and normal people might not even have the chance to witness one. Chu-yi was a disciple of Tiangang sect. It was normal for him to have a sword that was forged using black gold meteoric iron. Of course, no one would question the authenticity of his sword. However, as for Yi Qingtang, though she appeared to be a handsome man, she was dressed in ordinary clothes. She did not seem to be able to own any weapon forged using black gold meteoric iron. The young man here really hit the wall today. How dare he say such nonsense in front of Master Du? Black gold meteoric iron? If he had black gold meteoric iron, I would have the Millennium meteoric iron. The confidence on his face was replaced by astonishment. He gazed at the broken sword in his hand, and his eyes were filled with disbelief. How is it possible? Chu-yi could not believe that his sword was broken. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.